Hey guys, it's Dan again from CryptoCamacho.com, where each day I teach you something valuable about cryptocurrency. And today I want to talk about a very special tool that I use to look at the ROI and the success of ICOs, right? Everybody knows what ICOs are, initial coin offerings. They're the new IPOs. They're the new kind of hot ticket in town to invest in when it comes to cryptocurrency. And today I'm going to talk about a tool that I use every single day, almost every single day, and it's to track the progress of ICOs that have recently launched, right? So when you actually go and invest in an ICO, you deposit your money or your coin or whatnot, and then maybe a month, 2, 3 months later, you see how that ICO performed, right? It'll hit an exchange, it'll hit the market, and it'll launch, and then it'll either go up through the moon or it will go down. But how do you keep track of the performance of all of the ICOs, right? There's so many ICOs that are coming up every single day. New ones are coming out. How do you actually track which ones are profitable and which ones are not? Which ones are performing well, which ones are not? So I came across this tool just kind of by accident. I think I was reading in a forum somewhere, and I found this tool. It's called ICOstats.com, and it looks like a developer just kind of put this together fairly quickly. And what it does is it kind of gives a recap of all of the ICOs that have launched over the last X amount of time, right? It'll give you ROI on ICOs that have launched. It'll give you ROI in the last 24 hours, the last week, the last month, so forth and so on. And I use this really just to gauge how ICOs are performing and to gauge, what is the spread when you invest in an ICO. What is the potential? How high does that ICO go up, right? So let's take a quick look at this. And some of the recent performers you can see right here, but there's other things you can sort through. The ROI since the ICO launched, the ICO versus the time it launched, ICOs versus Ethereum, ICO performance versus Bitcoin, and so forth. And then you could kind of compare them together. So let's take a quick look over here. Let's look at sentiment. Okay, so it launched on July 3rd of 2017, and I actually kind of remember when this one was launching and was considering investing in it, right? And now that I look at this, I probably should have. The initial ICO price was 27 cents. Today it's at 65 cents. And in the last month, it's gone up 140%. In the last week, 155%. And then even in the last 24 hours, it's been 61%, right? And so that's kind of the negative ones. We'll look at it in a second here. And then you kind of go down the list and you just kind of look at the performance of all these ICOs. And if you look at all of the ICOs in the last, let's say, month, the majority of ICOs have gone up in value. I mean, there are a few that have not gone up in value, but by and large, most of the ICOs have actually gone up in value at least 20, if not more percent, right? So at least 20% or more. And you scroll down and you kind of see this over and over and over. But now let's take a quick look at the ROI since last month. There's the positives, there's the negatives. There are some that are negative, right? So they're not all rosy and nice. But the losses are actually, it's worth noting that the losses are actually not very, very large. The highest loss, or the ICO with the highest percentage of loss, is VDICE and TrueFlip. And they're about negative 58%, negative 44%, so forth, which means that you would have lost, maybe half of your money if you invested in it, right? This one started at 9 cents, now down to 5. This one started at 63 cents, now actually it looks like it's up $1. So you actually would make money here. So in the last month it's gone down, but in the last 24 hours it's gone up. So this is a really, really good way to just kind of gauge how ICOs are performing overall in the market. People have said that ICOs are losing steam, and that's probably true. They're probably not as many that are just kind of going through the roof at this point, but there's definitely still a lot of potential in ICOs. So let's dig into this a little bit more, right? So let's look at ROI since ICO. And this blows my mind right here. This is crazy. So if you look at, this is NXT coin, which I've actually bought, not at the ICO, unfortunately, but the price launched at, like a half a penny. And the current price is 9 cents, 95 cents, which is a 560,000% return on NXT. So those who got in early on NXT, even if you invested $100, you would have made a very, very good profit. And let's just take a look at what that would have been. All right, so let's say $100 times, let's just say I mean, I don't even want to do the math on this, but it's ridiculous how much money you would have made. Same with IOTA, Ethereum, all of these different coins, you would have made a killing if you would have invested on any of them, right? But they're not all nice and rosy like this. Let's kind of do the flip side of this and reverse it. So ICOs since the launch, let's look at the ROI since the launch. A lot of these have recently launched, which you can kind of see, but many of them, the percentage drop is really not actually that high. So if I invested $100, I would have had $50 at the end of it, right? Or, $60 right here, and so forth and so on. The majority of ICOs since their launch have been very, very profitable. And these are, the top ones up here, the top performers. But if we look down here, and let's go to page 2, it just goes up and up and up from here, right? 1,000%. Like these are big earnings, and no wonder why people are interested in investing in ICOs, right? The potential is very, very big right now. And now let's look over at the ROI and the time. So this is daily ROI, weekly ROI, monthly ROI, compared to the ICO launch date. You can kind of just see a recap. That's pretty funny, the FUCK coin. You can see a recap of how things have been performing. Obviously, at launch, the performance is going to be higher than the daily. But this will give you a good gauge of how these things are performing. Now let's look at ICOs versus Bitcoin performance, which should be pretty interesting, right? So this will show you the actual coin, the ICO performance and ROI since the launch date, and then the Bitcoin ROI since the ICO launch date as well. So as you can see, Bitcoin has actually performed really, really well relative to ICOs that have been launching, just because Bitcoin has been going up, right? In the last year, Bitcoin has gone up, I think it's like 8,000 or 9,000%, right? It's doubled like 8 times over the last year. And so no wonder why it's competing with ICOs, because it's the momentum has just been going through the roof. So you could argue that, if you would have invested in Bitcoin a year ago versus an ICO, you could have made the same amount of money, although Bitcoin is a lot less risky. So that's true in some cases, but some of these ICOs are going up, much more than 200%, which you saw earlier. So anyway, this is another really helpful tool to gauge, how ICOs are going up and so forth. And then lastly, you can compare different ICOs performance over time, right? So here's 3 ICOs, Token Card, Humanique, and Argon, and this shows the performance over time, right? Which I think is very helpful as well. And then lastly, upcoming ICOs, they don't really have anything for it, but it goes to ICOalert.com. You can check out ICOalert.com for upcoming ICOs that you want to invest in. There are a couple ICOs that are coming up that I'm eyeing right now, I'm looking at. I haven't invested in anything yet in this particular ICO. I'm trying to gauge it a little bit more. I will put a video out on it very, very soon. It looks like it's very promising. It looks like it has a lot of potential, and I'm thinking about investing in it, and I will make a video on it here shortly, and I'd love to get your take on that. But anyway, hopefully, guys, this tool is useful for you guys. Again, it's ICOstats.com. Again, no affiliate. I don't make anything. Just wanted to share with you this tool because I find it really useful. And props to the developer that actually made this tool, because I think it's set up very well. I think there's a lot of potential that this person or group can do with this particular tool. So hopefully you find it useful. Again, I'm Dan from CryptoCamacho.com. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can find the link to ICOstats.com in the show notes, as well as other really useful tools and resources in the cryptocurrency space. If you have any questions, let me know. Leave a comment. Would appreciate it so much. And until next time, I will talk to you guys later. See ya.